Hello, everyone. It is Tuesday, the 18th of June, 2024, and it has taken well over 2 hours for me to try to get my live video started this morning. Oh my goodness. And so I don't even know if this is going to work. I'm going to attempt to, but bear with me, please. There might be some internet disconnection issues or connection issues, whatever you want to call it. But anyways, I do want to discuss a misrepresentation or a misinterpretation of astrotheosophy, or this cosmic plane, or whatever you want to call this cosmos. I mean, there's a lot of people, even within the truther community. I don't know what you'd want to call it. The community, I have no idea. Whatever you want to call it, people that are trying to get the truth out there, or the get to be that they think there is, me included in that. But there are, again, geniuses that are misinterpreting with Satan, and that is not true. And I've shared this for the last few years as well. I mean, no offense when I call this stuff out. It's just one of those things that I'm a little bit OCD when it comes to this stuff. There's incredible content out there that are really representing the community and getting it wrong, and being and unfortunately getting baited into these soul traps, or whatever you want to call it. This electrical magnetic reality being projected on a flat plane of inertia. We need to get it right. I'm better than anyone. I would just like to have these conversations. I have personally emailed and reached out to people like Eric Dubay and Dr. Naco Longo from Old World, Florida, and messaged them like in their comments regarding specific videos, trying to either get the opportunity to go on the show and discuss with him and share my research and my interpretation and why I'm coming up with what I'm saying. And but again, it's been a couple of years, and I'm not sad about it. It's just that these people are getting invited to do movies or documentaries with people like Sean Hibbler, and he's awesome. And that guy is really like tracking what's going on with the reality of the world, like international level stuff as well. And and so he's hiring people that, it may make him lose credibility, unfortunately, not because of anything he's doing or saying, but because of the people that he's hiring. And because people are going to be looking at their channels and their content, and are going to use that to refuel things that they're saying and dismiss a lot of things that they're saying and just shut them out completely. And so I've even talked about Jesus Christ, and because he keeps claiming, even in this video that I want to share, that Jesus Christ was a fruitarian. And first of all, Jesus Christ is just a representation or a symbol of the sun in the sky. And so again, I could shut that down right there. But also with the claims with the Bible, and I've shared this in other videos, but there's over 50 plus passages where it discusses meat and people eating meat, and it was good. And even with Sodom and not Sodom and Gomorrah, but with Cain and Abel, even with God, he chose the meat sacrifice or offering, not the fruits and vegetables from Cain. There's a lesson in that. And then there's also other lessons as well. And so a lot of, so even with that, you know what I mean? Like I would have liked it if we could have discussed that in itself, and I could have provided a lot of passages as well that I could, share insight with, and when Jesus Christ was born, and and let there be light, and God created light, like the Son of God, SUNSON, play on words, whatever you want to call it. And and so there's that. And then there's I've talked about this with Lucifer. By the way, Lucifer Morningstar is the last name, if you want to look. And this was something that was introduced with the Christian religion, by the way, Lucifer being connected with Satan. And so pre-Christianity or pre-misinterpretation of Christianity, there was a disconnect. So Lucifer was Lucifer Morningstar, I want to call it. Some people call it a planet. I do not, because it's not. and even connected with like the color green, and so Lucifer, Dawn, Eos, Hemera. These are all allegories or symbols or stories discussing Venus in the sky, that comes before the sun in the mornings, or that comes, and even called an evening star, because again, depending on the seasons, every luminary or wandering star does follow its a unique path throughout the seasons, just like the sun and moon does as well. And so I can go on so many tangents on that. And then with Satan as well. So Satan is connected with Saturn or Kronos. I've discussed this in so many different videos. But even with that, the reason why he's seen as a half goat, half human, and connected with the color red and flames because it's cold, is because Saturn, it rules over Capricorn and Aquarius, the zodiacal astrological signs, and it rules over them. And so this is when the sun enters Capricorn on the 21st of December during a leap year, the 22nd of December during a non-leap year, every single year. And that's when it's at its lowest point. South latitude, 23.4 degrees south latitude of the equatorial belt. And it stays at that, well, it doesn't stay, but it moves at that lowest point for 3 days, appearing to be dead in the sky. And then on the 25th during a leap year, or the 26th during a non-leap year, it starts its ascent from the lowest point, and then starts its ascent up. And that's when we have it from the 21st to the 25th, 22nd to the 26th, depending on if it's a leap year or non-leap year. I'll just keep on clarifying. We have the longest nights, shortest days in what we call the northern hemisphere, but it's the regions or the land masses that are closest to the center or the North Pole, or northern region, whatever you want to call it. And then enters into Aquarius in January, and then it stays there until it goes into Aquarius. From Aquarius it's Pisces. But anyways, and so those months are the winter months and the coldest seasons for people in these northern regions, and that's why it talks about look, there's a lot of suffering and death and fire and brimstone and stuff like that, because it's the colder months. And so you don't start fires when you're really hot, right? You start fires when you're really cold. And so Saturn, Capricorn is represented by a goat, and Aquarius is represented by a human in tropical astrology, as for these symbols or images or zodiacal signs. And that's why Satan is represented as being half goat, half human. And then Satan is also correlated with the first chakra, root chakra, and the color red. And that's why also Satan always appears to be red. So Lucifer and Satan are two completely different entities, colors associated with them, stories associated with them, you name it. And so it would just be nice. I mean, no offense, I don't mean to be rude. I'm not like none of that stuff. Like I just, even Eric Dubay in some of his books that discussed said Lucifer / Satan. And so I don't think I'm smarter than him at all. I think that I said that he's the one that introduced me to looking more into to flat Earth, specifically, and in the 2019 period. And so, yeah, just because his videos were so well laid out in his books, and then it got me looking at to what he was looking at for references, and getting those books, and then diving deep into my own research and experimentation, and doing that for a few years before I even dreamed of sharing any of this information. And anyway, and I don't know how much more I could go into that, but I will introduce the video. And so even with that, I have shared I've taken the time out to share long-winded commentary on specific videos from Old World, Florida, just to get myself to be possibly even invited on the show, just for clarification and stuff like that, or at least just introduce this. And so that if you ask questions about it, then oh my goodness, yeah, there's going to be some internet reception issues. While this is loading, I'll read this comment by Charlie Brown. The Bible explains how our world works by personifying electricity and magnetism. And I do believe that this is an electrical magnetic reality. The stories in the Bible make a lot more sense when you have multiple different. I've discussed the Bible at length, probably over a dozen times, probably more than that, probably hundreds of times. And I do believe that it's a good story. I really do. I believe that there's people misinterpreting it, and there might be people that that wrote it that may have had ulterior motives as well. People coming from warrior types, right? People that whose families raped and pillaged and all this stuff. Like sometimes the good guys don't win in the wars and stuff like that, and then create the content for people to look at. And so the Bible, the King James version of the Bible specifically, which was allegedly published in 1611. Okay, so you got the 6 + 1, 7, 711. Even like the month of September, it's seen in some groups, including myself, like as the 7th month, not the 9th month, and even the number 7 is the number le numéro 7 en français. So like then like in French, the number 7 is sept, and then septembre. So you've got like the Latin roots, the French roots for September being correlated with the number 7, and then even with October, octagons, 8, November, 9th, dec, December, 10, and March being the first month. Anyway. And so even with 9/11, what we're calling 9/11 2001, some people classify that as 7/11. And then the people that own the 7-Eleven convenience stores, look at that link and chain and where those derived from. And yeah, anyways, I'm going on these tangents. But even Galatians 4:24 states that it is it's allegorical and to treat it as such. And so there's a lot of truths in the Bible, but it's not based on facts, if that makes any sense. And this is still loading, guys. Oh my God, I hope it works. We'll see.
I gotta turn the music off. Fuck, we're gonna get
so I only started watching about 5 minutes of it. Or no, I would say maybe 10 minutes of it before I was like, I'm going to do video about this. He's so smart. Like he's a freaking genius, guys. And so I'm not even taking that away from him. He seems like a really awesome guy. I just would love to talk to him.
Give me 1 sec, guys. My bad about that.
Just Saturn.
Here, I'll throw Satan, some other music in there.
And Jesus. That's it. I won't even talk about the meat eating stuff. I will set that aside, the meat eating stuff. Because we are so opposite on that. And even Eric Dubé, like he seems like such an awesome guy. Oh no. No. You know what? I'm not gonna like it.
Alrighty. We're ready. So, how's everyone doing tonight? The music down. We're gonna keep it going, actually. Pretty nice.
That is good music.
Brandon, let me know how it's sounding. Does it sound good? Volume, music in relation to the voice? Okay. A little bite of an onion to start us off here. All right, well, happy Sunday, everyone. Sorry, always rushing into these. We were, the bookstore closed, right before we get going, right before we start live. So we're always closing up and getting things in order right before I go live. So I don't mean to make you guys wait too long, but usually the set time for the video is usually when the bookstore is closing. So you got to give me a little bit of time to get ready and a little bit of time to let people file in.
And yeah, I absolutely believe that the Bible is absolutely discussing electricity and magnetism, a unified force experiencing itself dualistically, as Walter Russell and others like to say. And so how could I not see this, like even the Bible, as an interpretation as such, when the sun is a literal representation of like these the magnetic energies, radiating energy, centrifugal. Anyways, and then you've got the moon obviously being married, and the gravitational forces, centripetal. You've got the anyways. It's a clear story about this cosmos being and sonoluminescence, I believe, is possibly connected with that as well, and hot and cold fusion, maybe, I don't know, and yeah, but degassed elements possibly is what's making the sun and moon illuminate, I guess, as like they do, and then cymatics, some form of cymatics, that for the other luminaries. But anyways, I'm going on these tangents. And God being the possible creator.
I hope you're.
And there's absolutely a
Fine with that.
creators of this cosmos, 100%. It's
Make it
divine,
straight again.
intelligently created.
These are going to be available soon online. They're available in the Dancing Elephant bookstore. But yeah, guys, we're going to be talking about Lucifer today. Lucifer, Satan. We're going to be demystifying Lucifer and Satan once and for all. You will have no confusion whether Lucifer and Satan are the same person when this video is done, when this live stream's done. And we'll give some astro-theological context, but there's a lot of debate. There's always been a lot of debate. Are Lucifer and Satan the same person?
No. Next.
No. Or the same thing, the same concept, the same force? Are they both the devil?
No.
And I think that's a good starting point.
Lucifer's love, like, it's the complete opposite of that, right? And Satan's death, right? Just because during the winter months in like the northern regions, like that's when the sun is furthest away during our winter months, we're void out, like there's nothing growing, right? So the people that even grew like crops or food or even animals, right? There's periods of time where like it gets very cold in Canada, let me tell you, even now. And yeah, and so there's a lot, like you're not growing anything. So unless you grew things in the spring and then collected the harvest by the fall and preserved things over the winter, and we have very long months, like cold months in Canada, like it's like freaking 9 months of the year almost. I'm not really exaggerating on that. And then there's animals and birds that migrate to other areas because it's too cold here for them to survive. We've got animals that hibernate, that hide underground and stuff like that during these periods. And it's a lot of animals collecting food, for the winter months, right? And so, and then when there's been periods of like where crops didn't yield anything, these are also times where like that winter people knew there was going to be animals and humans like more dying, either to sacrifice unfortunately for the families to survive, or because of the extreme weather and lack of going to the animals and stuff like that, because the money was going towards food for the families. And so there's so, and then with Venus, it's sorry, Lucifer's connected with Venus, Dawn, Hemera, Eos, and this as well is the zodiacal signs correlated with Venus is Libra and Taurus. The element correlated with it is copper, which when the day of the week associated with it is Friday or Vendredi, the heart chakra, the fourth chakra. And when you look at the luminaries out of the seven, that's the one, Venus is in the center, or in the middle. And then when you look at the visible light spectrum, right, when you've got like the varying ones, you go from violet and then indigo and then blue and then green and then yellow, and then orange, and then red. I think I got that right. So even on the visible light spectrum, green is in the center, and then it's also interesting, and I've said see more shades of green humans do than any other shade of any other color. So that also interests me because like, I also believe that within this cosmos, like we're experiencing it like on the flat plane of inertia at the center point of this toroidal field hyperboloid electrical magnetic reality that was created, a divine clocking. But anyway, I go on so many different rants and tangents.
The devil, where that word comes from. And we're going to be talking about a lot of words. We're going to be looking at some things, reading off some good PDFs. Got a lot of PDFs, but don't call me a PDF file. No. So we've got some PDFs we're going to be reading from. And yeah, that's it. The Bible, some Albert Pike.
So I'm even looking at harvesting, like even with Venus, like in Taurus. Taurus is when we usually plant crops, when we start planting gardens and things like that. It's usually start collecting the harvest and stuff like that. When Thanksgiving, yeah, it's just all very interesting things as well. Like also, there's such a disconnect of the two, of Satan and Lucifer. There's you just couldn't be further, from yeah. Anyway.
Some manly people.
So they're so not the same.
The classics, right? But also we've got some good gravy on astrology. So I'm going to prove to you guys. Lucifer and Satan are not the same. They can be identified with each other, but you can only make sense of that with astrotheology. You can't say...
Even in Roman folklore, I'll even read this, just for, like in Roman folklore, Lucifer, light bringer in Latin. Okay, so I've even said before that like Venus, like it's been called morning star, and Lucifer morning star, I'll say again, is like the friggin' name that people introduced Lucifer as. People forget that. And it's based on like introducing the sun as it enters our purview or our eyes. And anyway, in Roman folklore, Lucifer, light bringer in Latin, was the name of the planet Venus. The Greek name for this planet was variously Phosphorus, I've already said that, meaning light bringer, or Heosphorus, meaning dawn bringer. I mean, I could just go on.
Oh, well, yes, they're both the devil. Satan is just the devil when he's in a different mood, right? Or Lucifer, Satan. So we're going to get to the heart of the issue. Right in the Garden of Eden, whoever this eternal adversary is, he's also been likened to the serpent. So we're going to talk about the word serpent. But it's just going to be me today. No Shem. No one else. Just me. Yeah, I should blow up my window too. So it's just me. But how's everyone doing out there? We'll take a little bit for people to file in. Got 200 in the chat already.
Nice.
Love to see it. Thanks for spending your Sunday here. Hope you're fucking ripped out of your mind. Hope you're been fully fumigated with the Lord's holy incense.
Oh my God.
The anointing oil too. If you're not a smoker, you can rub that holy anointing oil on yourself and share in the mindset, the mind space. Yeah. Question everything. Thanks for the 20 pounds. I think
It's
that's
funny
pounds,
though.
right? Not euros. Appreciate
Well,
that,
he's
dude.
smart, so I'm not saying.
Or do that. No message with this, but I'll put that good use. Thank you, man.
Okay, get you.
And yeah, let me know how the audio is sounding in the back. Let me know how the music is in the back. There we go. That's what I want. Now we're in business. Look at this. Show you guys. All right. right, laid it all out. That's what we're gonna get into. This is also, every Sunday we read from the Bible, talk about Christianity, world religions in general, but talk about Jesus, the Old Testament too. And we got some ooze in the background. I'll shout that out too. So I've been partnering recently with a friend of mine named Rustin. Rustin Grows. I'm going to formally shout him out on the next produced video that I release. But this music you're hearing in the back with Ood, that's my good multi-instrumentalist friend named Rustin. And Rustin has been helping me with the soundtracks on.
Damn it, I knew that would happen.
What's up, Mar? Shout out to the mods. Thanks for helping out. We got Maxed Out Bear. Drop an orange if you want me to say what's up. We got Watchman in the chat. Tabasco. Paul Johnstone. Adriano, what's up? Zachary. It's easy. If yes, address. Yes, you can. I don't want to shout it out on stream, but yeah, feel free to. Dancing out the bookstore. I love that. Appreciate that, man. What's up, Sherry? Timothy, thanks for the OJ, bro. Harvard Smith D'Angelo in the chat. Amanda, Awakened One. Florida Man Food Forest. Hell yeah, that's a good channel. I like that name. Sasuke Uchiha, always in here. Showing support, appreciate it. Some of these I can't pronounce, forgive me. D. Hendricks. Maxed Out Bear. Love to see my bears in the chat. Hell yeah. Black Johnny Quest, my man. Brown's boy, Tim Brown. Got a lot of Brown in the house. Go to Browntown tonight. All right, Rebecca, JJ Recon, Spellbound Bear. What's up, y'all? That's pretty good. I think I'll go. Maybe I'll stream my phone more often. I have a chance to look at that one. Where am I reeling at? Ooh, Predator diet. Ooh, Dr. Longo, you should be eating blood and gore and lust. It'll make you a real man. Okay.
God.
Onions.
Oh my God.
Real boys and girls.
Oh my God.
We're gonna fight around, son. You wanna know how to fight Lucifer? Satan? Number one way, garlic and onion. Garlic and onion. Parasites. The same way like a preacher or a priest would be the representation of good in the physical world. You've got to accept there's physical representation of evil, right? And yes, there's evil people.
People that hide away from death, you're missing half of life. That's all I'm going to say about that. And it comes across as very entitled. Honestly, there's so many accounts throughout history, even present day, where people are starving. Children are starving. And when people ask them for what they want meat. And so like it's another misinterpretation of the Bible. It's causing health issues all over the world, but it's absolutely causing health issues in North America, Canada, and the US. People are buying into this vegan, I'm calling it a psyops, right? There's a lot of micronutrients that are absolutely needed for us to function and our brains to function, and optimize our this avatar. And if you're lacking even things like eggs in your diet, and again, unfortunately, all fats and proteins, not over consuming. I talk about that all the time as well, which is why I went on Naked and Afraid, and why I push primitive survival stuff, and I'm an advocate for it, and I'm walking the talk, right, with growing my own gardens and getting my meat, either hunting it myself or getting it from a local butcher. And I know that they treat their animals humanely, and I don't overconsume food, anyway. I try to be mindful. I understand that, that life comes with sacrifices, even with and even growing up as such, right? So even my sister still, right? She has chickens, and it's not that she enjoys cutting their heads off and eating the meat, right? But for her, she's providing for her family, even the extended family, even with the eggs and things like that as well. And these chickens are treated very well. And so if people are buying these things at grocery stores, they are enabling chickens to be pushed with steroids and antibiotics. And I will absolutely, and I've been an advocate for stopping that stuff and trying to minimize harm. Even with when I talk about war and stuff like that, this is trying to minimize harm for human beings, but also the socioeconomic ramifications, as well as the infrastructure collapse and just destroying remnants of beautiful history and from advanced civilizations and like and fully grown at like 3 weeks. That's not normal, right? It takes months for chickens to fully develop, and they definitely don't get that big unless they're being pushed with things, and it's not good for us either, right? Because we're consuming the meat and the organs, then we're also consuming what they've been injected with or what they were consuming. It's just reality. I'm just going on all these tangents again. But yeah, and there's a lot of scientific studies that are also out there about mental health decline, on a vegan diet. And I've shared those as well in previous videos. I mean, no offense when I say that, like I'm coming from a place of care and as a coach and someone that's, someone that's, anyway, that has several fitness, nutrition, sports nutrition, master's health and wellness, physique coaching, personal trainer, and this is just stuff that I've gotten just to augment my skill sets, right? Not even a requirement for my job, but just things that I think augment my skill sets. I'm going on all these tangents. Let them talk.
But there's evil organisms, parasites. When Jesus is battling with the Pharisees, you can also interpret that as parasites. Parasites. Anyone who's into vampire stories, vampires are just parasites. Or, now, same thing with what I just said. Are there people who drink blood and act like vampires? 100%. We're not denying that. But inside of us, we're all susceptible to parasites, especially if you're on a meat diet, especially if you're on a blood diet, fish diet, sushi. Sushi's a big time killer.
Things like oregano oil even can help with that. Yeah, so for parasites and for worms, these are actually what causes and fungus. This is what causes the majority of our health issues that we actually incur. And so if we can take things like ivermectin or fenbendazole, and even saying that gets people fucking Hillary to. Anyways, I shouldn't say that. But there's also natural remedies, right? Like apparently even apricot seed, and oregano oil. These are things that can treat our guts, the microbiome, and assist with that. And it's not just that where you can eat, like also anything that you collect also from the wilderness can.
Suicide out there in Japan. Parasites. So the Pharisees, parasites, blah blah blah. Vampires can only be invited into your home. You have to invite them in. They can use every dirty trick in the book, but you still have to invite them in. That's talking about parasites. Onions and garlic are the enemy of the vampire because they're the enemy of the parasite. So raw onion, raw garlic, be careful with them, especially with garlic, because of how invigorating,
I love onion.
passionate qualities are. So basically, onion and garlic, guys. If you're afraid you might be dealing with any parasites or anything, pound some onion, pound some garlic.
Oregano oil too.
Chase the serpents, the worms, the dragons right out. It's a very non-invasive, not messy way to deal with parasites. So this tastes like apple to me by now. Onions have a ton of sugar. People forget that. But if onion and garlic is very, very strong to you, if it's very off-putting,
Oh, no. Oh no. It took almost 2 hours to load anything earlier. I really hoped that. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm trying to get videos out. I'm in a log cabin in the woods, and my the main road to leave my house is it's a dirt road. So I don't know. I have a tower connected with the but still. Let me close some things down if that helps, and let's see if that helps. Let's see. Inside. Okay. So as soon as I stopped sharing, that did help. And so I'm just going to see if it's actually going to load. And yeah, I was going to talk about, oh yeah, like about, and I've said this in previous videos as well. If you wanted to take a look at Rumble, Dawn189, that's DAWN 189. I have so many more videos on Rumble that you wouldn't believe. So my YouTube has been zapped so many times, and even now and a half, you don't have, right? So the stuff that I've talked about with Sandy Hook and January 6th and 9/11 and more flatter stuff and things that I've talked about in previous videos, but I've given even more content on. And yeah, you're only going to find that on Rumble and definitely not on YouTube, because even when it was still up, my account they have removed so many videos and they have censored so many videos that it's going to be a game of catch up for billions of people, and but not 8 billion people, more like less than 4 billion people. And no, it's not because I think there's going to be any kind of like mass, well, I can talk about that, mass depopulation agenda. I think that we're being lied to about the amount of people that are on Earth as it stands right now. I've done videos on that as well. You're only going to get that on Rumble. And you'll see me even break down and calculate the like the major cities with the highest populations, and then tally that up. I took Excel spreadsheets, the autofill, the auto sum, and showed the calculations where with even with like the 300 and the remote rural areas that make up less than 100,000 people if population, and so yeah, so there was a lot of math that was done as well, and surveys and census, and getting my information from government websites, right? So getting it from the horse's mouth, so to speak, just like the global Earth stuff. And yeah, but I will say that where people are doing testing and experiments and research, like HARP and countless other and certain areas throughout the world, like the heat signature in these areas, when you're looking at it with different measuring technologies where they do overlays, and you can see yellow, green, which means like signatures, like over areas where they're testing like the EMP type stuff. Like this is where there's a huge increase in heat, and then we're shredding trees, because trees also manage the like the heat, right, and the biosphere, or the like whatever you want to call it, and keep the soil and that carbon dioxide off exchange, and they provide protection, assist with the heat, right? And so like there's been that have been shredded in the last 4 or 5 years under Stephen Guilbeault, the climate, friggin' activist, causing so much more damage to our environment, and even with the carbon tax increasing that, it's taking land away from farmers, even small time farmers, with the increase in the carbon tax, because their bills are now hundreds and thousands of dollars more a month just this April. And there's already been more people having to shut down their farms, and the soil that these people are managing in the rural areas, okay, not living the high lifestyle or anything like that, way more carbon neutral than people in suburbs and cities that are not doing anything to neutralize their footprint. Okay, they're not hunting for their food, they're not growing their food, they didn't build their homes from scratch. Like they're consuming so much food and medications, and so these people are managing the actual solar panel, which is our soil and the grasslands and the trees and stuff like that, and keeping it fertile. And especially even with animals graze, that is also assists with that, with opening up the grass and keeping it a certain length, so that there's that oxygen carbon dioxide exchange, which also helps filter the fucking atmosphere, or the atmos, whatever you want to call it, the air we breathe, that is necessary for life. And yeah, and then people are using are more, and then the commercially owned farms are coming in, that are being regulated by people like Monsanto, and like overly consuming chemicals and pesticides. And so we're really not doing anything good for our country. And there's going to be mass starvation within the next year or two if this keeps on, just like it has been done literally throughout the past. And it's been government led, even though they bonds in cabinet right now. We have morons that are being hired as experts, even the security analysts, and they're leading us to the slaughter, right? Not to sound dramatic, but even through the pandemic as well. I've shared my videos on that. I showed you what happened about Afghanistan pullout. I showed you the actual truth about what's going on in Israel and Palestine right from the fucking start. Even calling out Ben Shapiro on that fucking alleged burn victim thing, child burn image that he shared, called that out. I was the first one to share that and expose that. And anyway, because lives are at stake, right? And people that talk the biggest about me and Marco Mendicino, they've never hurt for nothing in their lives, and they have zero actual life experience when it comes to managing people. Anyway, I'm going on these tangents, and I don't know why. No, it's still loading. Awesome. And I could talk so much more about them, but
usually the start set time for the video, enemy of the vampire, because they're the enemy of the parasite. So raw onion, raw garlic, be careful with them, especially with garlic. There's whole groups of people who don't eat garlic because they're afraid of what it can do, because of how invigorating and fiery and passionate its qualities are.
Oh, and I'll just say this as well, like, like the more you increase electrical outflow, then the more you're also causing heat, electrical magnetic outflow, but electricity specifically. And so the more we're overdeveloping and pushing in a mass amount of people within populations that are already overpopulated, and people that are very, like, they're not cohesive at all, and it's by design, and especially being pushed and enabled by the government and mainstream media and education systems. And I'll reiterate that, and this is to cause panic and chaos and division, and make it appear like this is the reality, when this is so easily mitigated by just putting a hold on immigration, but the people that are responsible now for governance of this stuff and managing this stuff, they are the ones that are profiting off of this, right? They have shares and stocks and they're and they get to stay in their positions if they continue this, right? And so another one of those things with supply and demand for people that are not being held accountable. Like I cannot believe people have not been investigated and arrested yet for treason. I just cannot believe it in 2024. With the level of treason, clear treason that is actually being done, being committed, confidence immediately. People need to start getting fired. This is crazy. This is crazy now to me. And people beyond Canada, outside of Canada, they're calling this out as well, and they have been signaling the alerts. And oh my God. Anyways, back to him.
So basically, onion and garlic, guys. If you're afraid you might be dealing with any parasites or anything, pound some onion, pound some garlic. It'll chase the serpents and the worms, the dragons right out. It's very non-invasive, Onions have a ton of sugar. People forget that. But if onion and garlic is very strong to you, it's very off-putting, that's actually your parasites. That's a fact. So that's why I chew on onions. It's not just for show. I do it most of the day. And yeah, today I have. Today and yesterday. So let's get into it. We got some topic of discussion tonight is Lucifer. Lucifer is not the same as Satan. Very close. They're interconnected. And we're really going to be honing in on the zodiacal sign of Libra.
Oh, I guess I should have let it play out. I said I only watched the first 5 minutes. Okay, so he's saying they're not similar. Okay. So, yeah, I'm glad I'm letting it play out.
And we're going to find out Libra is actually synonymous with Lucifer, light bringer.
I already said that as well.
And Lucifer is also somewhat synonymous with Venus, the planet Venus. Mm-hmm. But it really, what it encapsulates is the planet Venus and the planet Saturn.
Yep.
Because Saturn and Venus come together. I need to change my setup. Boom, here we go. I think that's how it's gonna have to be. Yeah. All right, there we go. Now you guys can see me. Nice. So we've got some stuff to read through here, but we're just going to go over the general characteristics, right? Both are considered evil. Now, that's a very general description, but why are they both evil? As I've talked about in many different live streams, different videos, Adam and Eve represent many things, literal things, allegorical things. But what they really represent astrotheologically, which is the Bible in the sky. Adam and Eve didn't have a printing press. They didn't have an inkwell. So God wrote them the scriptures and the stars. Adam and Eve, one interpretation is it's the first half of the zodiac and the second half.
That's heaven and hell.
But it's also Mars and Venus. Man and woman. Men come from Mars, women come from Venus, right? Well, Adam, also odd and even. Adam up, some F, right? Odd and even. Adam up. But Adam and Eve is the first half of the zodiac and the second half of the zodiac. Adam is Aries. It's man. It's masculine. Now Libra is also
And Scorpio, though.
a masculine sign of the zodiac, but it's considered very feminine.
Mars correlated with Scorpio and Aries. Aries being the masculine of the zodiacal signs that it's associated with, and Scorpio being the feminine. So positive, negative, yin and yang, all that stuff. The element correlated with it is iron, and the color associated with is yellow, interestingly enough. So the color of war is yellow. Mars is associated with war, and he's right, Aries and Scorpio. But people always miss that, right? And it's important that they talk about the both zodiacal signs that are correlated with the wandering stars, because that's what creates the 7 and the 12, which so also connects with the chakras, with the colors, with the days of the week, with so many friggin' things like that I can discuss, and when you have like two uni signs that are ruled over by like the sun and the moon. So the sun and the moon rule over one individual zodiacal sign, right? So the moon rules over Cancer, and the sun rules over Leo. And this is one of the sun is at its hottest, and like the longer days, shorter nights as well. And that's interesting. But every other luminary, so there's 7 original or wandering stars, 7 original planets is what people also call it. And out of that, it's and it's based on proximity as well, but you've got the sun, the moon, Mercury, and to the Earth, obviously. But I like the Earth is not part of that at all. Like that's why I don't even mention Earth, because everyone's lumping in Earth as a planet. It is not. It is not. But anyway, so I'll just keep on going. You've got the sun, you got the moon, and then Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. And I forget where I was going with that. Oh yeah, and so out of that, the sun and the moon, and then out of the 5 remaining luminaries, Mercury is correlated with Virgo and Gemini. Virgo being the feminine, negative sign, and then Gemini being the positive, masculine sign. And then you've got the Venus is correlated. I already mentioned this with Libra and Taurus, yin and yang, positive, negative. You've got Mars that's correlated or connected with Scorpio and Aries, and negative, positive, and then with iron, and then the color yellow. Venus is correlated with copper, the color green. Mercury is correlated with the color blue, and is seen as a sun and moon. So I'll just keep on going. Jupiter is correlated with Sagittarius and Pisces. You've got the positive and the negative, and then you've got Saturn. It's connected with or rules over Capricorn and Aquarius. And this also has to do with the seasons as well, with the allegories that and the stories that are told about these images in the sky, and they're also seen as the 12 titans, the 12 disciples or apostles, the 12 zodiacal. Anyway, there's so many things throughout like Babylon and Egypt and in Asia where there's this discussion of a sun or a masculine bright gold figure that's correlated with being born on the 25th of December, that with like the 12 disciples or 12 beings following them or revering them, and that connection with them always, and then the virgin birth, and I've said this as well, that every single year during a leap year on the 20th of March, that's when the sun enters into Aries, and which is connected or correlated with Mars, correlated with war, but also spring, and also the start of the calendar year that I like to call the new year. And then during a non-leap year, it's the 21st of March of every single year, the sun enters into Aries, start of spring, and then we have equal amount of day and night, and then the sun starts its journey, its ascent to its highest point, which happens on the 21st or the 22nd of June, again, depending on the leap year, non-leap year. And it's at the highest point for 3 days, north latitude, 23.4 degrees from the equatorial ring, or 0 degrees latitude. And then it starts its, and then we have the longest amount of day, shortest amount of night in the northern regions, or the regions closest to the North Pole or closest to the Tropic of Cancer ring that it travels. And then on the 22nd or 23rd of September, depending on a leap year or non-leap year, we have our fall, or our autumn, and still again equal amount of day and night in the northern and southern regions, what we call them, or the areas to the north or south of the ring. and equal amount of day and night. And then we start from there. We go into the longer nights, shorter days, because the sun is traveling towards the Tropic of Capricorn ring, which is furthest away from the people in the northern area of the equatorial ring, but closest to the people in the southern area of the equatorial ring. If that makes any sense. And then on the 21st or the 22nd of December of every single year, the sun is at its lowest point, south latitude, 23.4 degrees. And then for 3 days, it's at its where we have experienced the longest amount of days, and where the sun is considered to be dead at the lowest point. And then on the 25th or the 26th of December of every single year, the sun starts its ascent from the lowest point, and then it starts the cycle again, right? Which also, when you map it out, creates like the sine waves, because of the circle smaller, and then it's moving in a circular path above us. And it forms the analemma, or the figure 8, or the infinity symbol on its path through the seasons when you map it out. And that's even on a globe Earth model, they show that, and so they can't even repeat that. And I don't know where I was going with any of that stuff anymore. Degree circle. You have a 0 degree and a 180 degrees of the circle, and then you can do it where you have the 5 sets of like the 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, and on either side of the circle being seen as negative and positive. And so 2 uni degrees, and then the diagonal order, or the of degrees. I don't know if that even makes sense to people, but it's important because the number 7 is a sacred number, and it's something that's repeated throughout this life. So is the number 12, and yeah, and it has everything also to do with the images in the sky, mapping out this clock for us.
It's the most feminine sign of the zodiac that's technically considered masculine, if that makes sense. And that's going to explain, it might sound contradictory, but that's going to, is the morning and evening star of planet Venus, who's always usually feminine, but somebody's being regarded as masculine. So Lucifer's masculine. Venus is feminine.
We both have
How are they one
masculine
and
and
the same?
feminine.
Well, Libra is a masculine,
Yin and yang, positive, negative,
but it has a lot
attracting,
of feminine qualities to it because
repelling,
it's ruled by Venus.
appearance,
And then
disappearance of
in
form.
the sign of Libra also Saturn exalts. So this is what I'm getting at here. Lucifer is roughly synonymous with Venus, and Satan is roughly synonymous with Saturn. Definitely is synonymous with Saturn. So Lucifer and Saturn, where do those meet? What's the common ground between those two? Well, the sign of Libra, which is the 7th sign of the zodiac. 7th, September. It's where the fall comes. It's the end of the kingdom of heaven. It's the fall. It's the fall of man. It's the fallen angels.
Oh, and also fun fact, if you procreate on the 20th of March, during the spring equinox, during a leap year, you will conceive, or you'll have your baby on the delivery date or due date is 25th of December as well. So also connected with the divine clock and the sun. And then if you procreate on the 21st of March, then the 26th of December would be, yeah. And so this is when we celebrate sun. Anyway, another connection.
It's the false teachings. All this is the fall.
I'll be right back.
Right?
I'm keeping this playing.
Well, in the sign of Libra, you have Venus ruling and Saturn exalting. Now, right there is why you have Lucifer and Satan being conflated, being confused. It's not that it's wrong, it's just we need to pick it apart a little bit. Right? So, Lucifer means light bringer. Luz, many languages. Lux, Li is light. Light. Lucifer means light bringer. Well, Libra is the same. So, people say Lucifer is the morning star and the evening star. Yes. But if it's just Venus, why is it both of those roles? Libra is both partaking of morning and evening. It sees the sun in the sky and it sees the sunset down. It's the halfway point between this, in the middle of the zodiac. Right, Virgo and then the cusp into Libra. That's halfway point of the zodiac. It's the verge into the fall. Virgo, Libra, the equilibrium. Libra. So Lucifer, you're right, it's confusing. You can say that it's Venus, but it's definitely Libra. And when we're identifying Lucifer with Libra, then we get a clear picture as to why it's Venus and Satan at the same time, and why it's the serpent at the same time. The serpent is representative of the number 7. 7. Sept. Serpt. Yeah, it's not a stretch. Look that up in many different languages. 7 and serpent are linked. So, Libra, Virgo is the staff. Virgo is medicine. It's ruled by Hermes, which is where you get the word hermetic, medical. Virgos are meticulous, right? They're hermetic. They like to go back into their cave. They can be isolationists. Well, from the verge into the fall, from Virgo into Libra, you have the fall of the sun. The sun is dying. It's been betrayed. It's about to be officially betrayed, but it's being lured into betrayal. So Libra is the step right before Scorpio. Scorpio is the assassination. Scorpio is also the sex act itself. So Libra is everything leading up to that. That's why it rules temptation, seduction. It's the sunset. So in the greater year, Libra is the fall time, September. In the day, because the zodiac is mirrored, it's reflected in the micro, the daily cycle too. Libra rules the sunset. Sunset. And this is why Saturn exalts in Libra. Saturn is the element of the sun, you could say. They're opposed to each other. Saturn is happiest and strongest when the sun is at its weakest. That's what's going on in Libra. The sun has fallen. The path that the sun takes throughout the sky in Libra begins to be less and less, and it's less than half the day. So that's why the equinox is Libra, equilibrium, right? So when we're talking about serpent in the Garden of Eden, which a lot of people identify with Lucifer and Satan, even though those words aren't used in that instance, the serpent is representative of the number 7, and 7 is Libra. Now, the matter of free will also points to Libra. But I hope I did a good enough job of explaining that. That's just our introductory rundown of Lucifer versus Satan. Lucifer seems more of a feminine, alluring, seductive energy, whereas Satan is more of this ice cold punisher, also a trickster, definitely a trickster, definitely mischievous, very remnant of Loki. And also, man, you look at Loki, you're seeing a very strong link to the word Lucifer. Because if you want to stretch that, which you can, don't get me wrong, Lucifer, 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 Loki, Loki. Yes. The word lucky comes from Lucifer too. The word lucky comes from Lucifer.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Well, all right. So yeah, and what else are we told about Lucifer? Lucifer apparently was an angel of music. He presided over music making. And this is another nail in the coffin that we're talking about Libra here. Because Libra is the liar. Libra's the liar. Who knows what a liar is? Like a little mini lap heart. This little heart. The liar. So Libras, in fact, no shade, Libras make the best liars. Libra rules lying. And that's also why they make the best lawyers.
If you're of Libra,
The
I'm not
fact
saying
that
it.
Libra rules law,
He is.
keep that word in mind, law. The fact that Libra rules law is going to tie us
Balance
back
the
into
scales.
Saturn too. So you're going to see Libra rules two things in astrology: romance and law.
I always saw it as like your judgment for like your deeds or your work and efforts prior to the fall season, especially because like coming from Canada, and like if you didn't collect your wood and your hay and get your food ready, like and stored and preserved and frozen for the fall and the winter months, like you're like fucked, like you're fucked, right? And you know, it's easier now to get access to food and stuff like that, but it didn't always used to be the case, and it shouldn't be the case, because we're hurting our resources, all of our resources, by the overconsumption and these 15 minutes city centers and stuff like that that people are continually trying to push on us. It's not helping anyone except for the people that are pushing it, right? And the people that are profiting off of our ignorance, and they don't care about the long-term ramifications of the earth at all. Trust me. All right. And like Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, JP Morgan, General Dynamics, mainstream media, like conglomerates are all part of like the same rich elitists that are also controlling the oil industry. And I've said this before as well. And they don't want anyone to be self-sufficient country-wide, like their own resources, because that's what they've had a hold on and a monopoly of for generations. And yeah, I just wish that people would wake the fuck up. It's not even their fault. Like you can't wake up unless you're provided the opportunity, I guess, or seek it out. And but how do you do that when like there's generations of brainwashing, indoctrination, unfortunately, that has been going on. I mean, by people that own the banking systems, the education systems, the corporations that essentially dictate what our governments do, and lobbyists and advertisers and opportunists and propagandists and currentists. It would be nice if people like me finally got hired to do the international security assessments and debrief the higher levels of government, but instead they're again hiring people that are friends and family that are pushing the same bullshit narrative that has been fucking us over for generations. I'm talking about humanity. I'm not just talking about Canada right now. This is definitely an international thing. Yeah.
So the romance clearly comes from the Venusian influence. Aphrodite, Venus, Freya. And then the law comes from the Saturnian influence. And the other words for Saturn would be Satan, Moloch, Loki, lock and key,
Chronos.
and base, low things, Loki, Moloch, Mulek, the mule, I guess we can
Alphabets
talk
also
about
have
the
don't have
symbols
human.
for the
That's it. It's just a misinterpretation of theosophy. Luminaries.
political parties too, of
Science.
America. Here, we're gonna try another track here. Nice. Hell yeah. Shout out to Rustin. Okay. Yeah, I forgot what I was talking about. But I guess we can start reading from these PDFs. Some of these books we have in the store, it's just cumbersome. My desk is pretty full here. And my Bible and my iPad and some snacks. So we're going to read off the PDFs. That way you guys can see them too, so I can share. And so Libra is where we get the word liberal. So if there's one thing that I can prove to you tonight, there's one thing that I can promise you is 1,000,000% substantial. Liberals, the left, political left, is the Luciferian party. Leftism, liberalism is the influence of Lucifer, who's very preoccupied with free will and individualism and things like that. So, whereas conservatives there we go. Nice. Perfect. Conservatives, Cancer. The word conservative comes from Cancer. So what you're seeing is a Jupiterian influence. Jupiter exalts in Cancer. That's why it's the elephant.
Cancer.
So if you like the elephant lore for the political party stuff, go check out my most recent video, the Ringling Circus. Atlantis. Elephants of Atlantis. I don't know what I fucking title these things anymore. Elephants of Atlantis. Republican mascot and the Ringling Circus. Very interesting stuff. Yeah, no, I don't hate Libras. I love Libras. I actually get along great with Libras. I'm actually doing Libras a justice right now, explaining where all the hate comes from. Not hate from me. I'm explaining why they're associated with darkness, why they're associated with lying, why they're associated with being indecisive, right? This is all these things kind of go back to the Garden of Eden and the serpent and the fall of man and the sunset. So it's not a personal thing. It's not that Libras are automatically bad people. I guess I can list off some good qualities of Libras. Libras are the most aesthetically talented. Libras always have an eye for fashion and aesthetic, proportion, design, decor, and they always excel in those areas. Libras always have a great sense of personal style too. So Libras they look like they have a designer, or they look like they have a fashion consultant who works for them, like puts their outfits together, and they're all in the same, like bought from the same store. It looks like it's all ordered from the same catalog. They have a defined look, right? And they're very savvy with their fashion. So what else are they? They have the greatest, most proportionate bodies, Libras. So they're very often are they models, and they have very, very beautiful features. With Libras, you very rarely find like a giant nose or giant chin or off center face or unsymmetric face. It's always symmetrical. Libras have the most tempered and moderate faces, and they don't scream any one emotion, really. Like some people can have emotions stuck on their face. Libras have a very relaxed. The features are balanced. Just Libra, balanced. So the eyes aren't too big, the forehead isn't too big. With Aries and Taurus, you can get some big head shapes, foreheads, and distinct brows. Libras tend to have a very fair look about them, not overly angry or overly sad like a water sign, or they're right in the middle, right? That's the beauty of Libra. They're a little bit vanilla like Virgo because they're right there in the middle of the zodiac. So Libras can be a bit indecisive, but that's also their superpower, is they're unbiased. So they make the best judges, they make the best lawyers. Like I said, lying's not always a bad thing. It can be a tactic, right? There's a time and a place for lying, and the courtroom's one of them. That's why lawyer and liar is the same word. And law and love, those are the themes of Libra.
I just wanted to correct myself with the sun. There's so many connections, but it's July 20th during a leap year. Let me see here. Yeah, July 20th is the 21st day of the year, and then July 1st during a non-leap year. Just make sure that I'm saying that correct. July 20th. Why that's significant is that's when the first alleged fake moon landing was publicized live on TV. You still got that 201 in there, and then even with when the astronauts, like what I like to call the astronauts, came to Canada in 1969. That was the year it allegedly happened, but again, it was faked. I share countless videos on that as well. It was December 2nd and 3rd, but December 2nd. And if you see December as a 10th month, like people like me do, you've got that 10/2 or that 102/201 connection as well. And that was when the prime minister first was introduced to these astronauts. And it was Pierre Elliott Trudeau. It was Justin Trudeau's father. And again, the first Canadian, ironically enough, to start pushing all the lies about the globe and moon landings and fake space stuff and taking billions of dollars cents of our taxpayers' money and just making a lot of money on it, or just being duped into making other people money and losing money from us. But anyway, I'll keep them going.
So think about love and law.
And the sun, sorry, I just wanted to also say the sun enters Leo on the 22nd of July or the 23rd of July, depending on if it's a leap year or a non-leap year. Sorry, I have a bee trying to get out. Actually, when the sun is at its highest point in the sky, where we have the longest amount of days, shortest amount of nights, that is when the sun is going from Cancer, entering into Leo. And just like the zodiacal belt, the sun's path, it's also like the longest days and shortest nights. And then you've got that connection with with the sun and the moon and the 12 and allegedly 12 astronauts that landed on the moon. I think that represents the 12 zodiacal images, the 12 disciples or disciples, whatever you want to call them, or apostles or titans, all those different things that discuss the 12 images in the sky that make up the zodiacal belt. Yeah.
We're going to end the word book. Libra means the word book in many languages, all the Latin languages. So we're going to be talking about books, law, and love. And you're going to see how Lucifer and Satan are intertwined with these. So Libras, I played lacrosse with a couple Libras, and one Libra in particular was very strong-bodied, well-proportioned, and they have, you could say they're the most aesthetically pleasing, in body and face. They are like kind of like blank templates almost. And my friend who was Libra, he was very valiant on the lacrosse field, and so they're definitely not one of the signs that have a reputation for weakness. Definitely, they're a cardinal sign too, so they have a lot of fight in them. All the cardinal signs.
Yeah, so you've got Aries, Libra, Cancer, and Capricorn are the cardinal signs, and which also make up a cross. And then when you look at the fixed signs, they make up an X, right? And the fixed signs, like that's what's possibly like the Sphinx is a combination of that, and so many other, like the Sephiroth, I think it is. Anyways, maybe not the Sephiroth, but various different beings throughout history have been represented by the fixed signs, which is just Taurus, Aquarius, Scorpio, Leo. Yeah.
Can be a little bit of that agitators. Yeah, so yeah, I hope I did enough singing their praises so we can shit on them a little bit more. But Libras, I love to hang out with Libras. Libras are like the life of the party. When I think of the life of the party, it's Leo, but that's not always sharing the energy. Leo can be kind of like the sun hogging the energy. Libra is up there with life of the party. So they're social creatures. They love to go to the bar. Libras, the sign you'll find at the bar more than anywhere else. More than any other sign. They love to go to the bar. It's not always the drinking, but Libra has an association with the kidneys, which has to do with drinking and filtering out fluids, right? So the bar, you'll notice Libra is associated with the bar too, which kind of goes back to the staff, right? But the bar is also going to bring us to that drinking and socialization and going to the bar. And
I'm just having bad connection issues, so like this is why I'm having to go back and recorrect myself, because I want to be clear, and so I'm just going to recorrect myself again. And so the 201st day of the year during a leap year, okay, which is this year's leap year, I know most of you know that, is July 19th. Okay, so it's July 19th is the 201st day of the year during a leap year, and then on freaking non-leap year, it's July 20th. And I just like being accurate on that stuff. And this also correlates again with the period within this cosmos when we have like the longest amount of days, shortest amount of nights, and when you've got that period of like the sun traveling from like the moon to the sun signs, Cancer to Leo, and the only two signs that are ruled over by one individual wandering star or luminary or planet, whatever you want to call it, although I don't consider them to be planets. So yeah, I think that's it for now.
being kind of libertine, that's another Libra word. And then also bring us back to law, because you have to pass the bar exam to become a lawyer, an attorney, don't you? Well, there's Libra again. And guess what? Remember we said it was the
Good morning, November.
lower back, the kidneys.
It's been a while.
Here we go. Lower back. Well, guess what? Libra rules the lumbar. The living on the top of the scale, or it can be the center post for the scale. So the bar, lumbar, lune is also synonymous with light. Lune, luminescent. So lune, bar. And if you really want to stress this,
No.
bar and bra. A couple languages switch the and the r when they're pronouncing it at the end of a word, especially. So Libra, Libar, right? The word for book, Liber. You know, we're switching it a little bit, but bra and bar, Libra. Also, Libra rules bras. Bras are very, that's not seductive, but bra the band and stuff like that. And it's a very Libra thing, having to do with feminine beauty and fashion. Bras often the most like a lot of women who don't care about what they wear still care about how their bra looks, stupid girl shit. But a connection there too. Libra, the lumbar, Lucifer. What else? What else can I gotta plug my computer in real quick. Here, you guys like my shirt? You ever wonder why Dr. Longo tells so many your mom jokes? I hope this isn't flipped. You guys see it? And when your mom warned you about the Irish, did she mention me by name? The Irish are the progenitors of mom jokes, guys. Here, we're going to get into read a definition from a controversial figure. Hate him or love him, doesn't matter. But he was a Libra, and he had more insights into Masonry, Freemasonry, the occult, Satanism, Luciferianism than anyone else. So we're going to read from the Book of the Law here by Aleister Crowley. And you're going to
again, 44:19 though. I know where it stopped. And it's so bad. So what's up, everyone? If you want to help me out, maybe send messages to Old World Florida or to people like Eddie Bravo or these people so I can get on the air outside of Canada. It'd be greatly appreciated. Probably not likely because even people like Mark Sargent and Eric Dubé, they've been on, well, I mean, Mark Sargent, he was on Russell Brand and other big outlets recently, which is amazing, but we're still not getting like the mainstream air and publicity. And so they're not getting it yet. So who's to say that I would, right? Or that I would facilitate that it getting out there more, right? If they're not getting it out. And, but yeah, like the more people put themselves out there and offer to speak about this stuff, even the stuff on international security stuff, like I would absolutely talk about that 1,000%, because that's also important to me and something that I'm more familiar with. That's been more my job. Like it's been like, thank you for your patience. I probably will give it another little bit, and then I do have to prepare for the day and get the dogs out. They've already been out, just to get them out for a good walk. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, sorry guys. On that note, I will leave it at that. I have no choice because I'm not going to continue to fight with technology. Like it's like over 2 hours this morning just to even get this video started. And so I'll take that. And I hope that everyone has a wonderful rest of your day. Please like, share, and subscribe.